couple of days ago, I had a neighbor friend come by and we were chit-chatting out in the street, and he asked me, he said, "How's the market doing?" And I had just finished the Lakewood Ranch market update. And I said, "Well, we're doing really well. The prices are up, still holding steady here in Lakewood Ranch." But at the time, I didn't really realize what he really wanted to know was what was it in his neighborhood. So in this video, we're going to cover just a little bit of a market research for Lakewood Ranch Country Club, Country Club East, and Lake Club to see what the prices have done over the past 5 years. And then I'm going to give you an example of someone who did not fare too well when they decided to sell their house because of the time in which they bought and the length of time that they held it. So if that's of interest, stick around. Hello, it's Mark Boehmig, Michael Saunders and Company. So in this video, I wanted to talk about the market conditions and what's going on here in Lakewood Ranch. So for the zip codes 34202 and 34211, our average sale price ending in February of 2025 was $386 a square foot. But when you break it down into individual neighborhoods, every neighborhood is going to be different. So the pricing in certain neighborhoods might be up, some might be down, but what it really all depends on is what is the inventory level and how much do the buyers have to choose from. Because basically we have shifted on almost all neighborhoods to a buyer's market. Now there is a little bit of an exception there, and I'll explain to you when we get to that neighborhood. So if we're looking at Lakewood Ranch Country Club, if you look at this chart here, over the past 5 years, you can see how the inventory was high back in 2020, at February of 2020, which was kind of the start of COVID, and then how it drops way down over the next couple of years. And now we have gained back 5 years later to a more normal inventory market for Lakewood Ranch Country Club. And then the pricing, as you can see here for Lakewood Ranch Country Club, in February of 20, it was a little over $230 a square foot. And now at the end of February 2025, we're at $438 a square foot. So if you bought in 2020 and you wanted to sell now, you've probably made out pretty good. But if you bought in maybe August of 2022, when the prices seem to be a little bit higher, you might not have fared so well. But overall, you're probably going to be in pretty good shape for Lakewood Ranch Country Club, and the prices are still holding steady in there. What about Country Club East? Well, this is the area that the gentleman asked me about what the market conditions were. So if we look back into February of 2020, you see what the inventory was in the community. It looked like about 52, 53 homes were actually on the market, which is almost the same of what it is in February of 25. But again, you see this huge dip where all the inventory was sucked out when we had so many sales during the COVID time period, and now our inventory is going back to increasing. Now, what about pricing in Country Club East? Well, back in February of 2020, it was a little over $200 a square foot, and at the end of February of 25, it was a little over $490 a square foot. So there again, pretty good investment for that 5-year time period from 2020 to 2025. But one thing I wanted to point out, it really depends on when you bought your house. So this house that you see here, for example, this person bought this house in June of 2022. They paid $2,215,000 for this particular home. Now, they needed to sell, so they sold the home, and that just closed a couple of days ago at $2,075,000. So all the things that they did to fix up the house, plus the delta, the difference between what they bought and sold it for, plus paying the sales commissions, the dock stamps on the deed, they did not fare well in that situation. Now, had they been able to wait, would they get their money back? Probably so, but we don't know how far into the future that might be. And also, I think that they bought almost at the height of the pandemic when there was very little inventory. So if we look back at the sheet that shows the inventory in June of 22, you can see it was very low. So they didn't have a lot of choice at that time. So they ended up paying a higher price because of the limited inventory. So what about Lake Club? Well, if you look at Lake Club back in February of 2020, there was about 24 homes that were on the market at that time. And you fast forward 5 years later, and we only had 12 homes on the market. So this is the little anomaly, the one that I was talking about earlier. They only had like 3 months of inventory. And then what about pricing? Well, if you'd bought in February of 20, you would have paid a little under $350 a square foot, and in February of 25, that number is up to about $720 a square foot. So real estate is expensive to get in and to get out of. So you have to keep those things in your mind when you're thinking about selling. Is it the right time to sell? It really depends on when you bought. You have to keep in mind that you're going to pay commissions, you're going to pay dock stamps on the deeds, and maybe some repairs, some general repairs to get your home ready to get on the market to be sold for the highest price available. Right now, homes are staying on the market longer because we do have more inventory. So that's something else that you need to talk to your agent about, is how long would you expect to have your house on the market if you listed it today? So I hope you found this video helpful. Timing is everything when it comes to real estate. Similar to stocks, if you buy it low and sell it high, that's what we want to do, but it doesn't always happen that way, as you could see for that one individual that kind of didn't do too well on the sale of his home. So if you find yourself coming to Lakewood Ranch and you're looking for a property here in our area, I'm very familiar with the market, what it's doing, and if you happen to live here and you're thinking about selling your house, I'd be more than happy to talk to you about what that process might look like. Mark Boehmig, Michael Saunders and Company.